Well, by golly, folks, how you doing? So glad you could come in. I don't know if it was the crackling of the fire or the smell of the smoke that brought you in to Harmony Fire today, but I sure am glad that you're here. I hope that you've all been having a good walk on your earth walk out there, and this day is finding you in good spirits, in good health, and in good demeanor today. I'd like to think about this fire today as a thinking fire. And the reason that I call it that is as I got here thinking over a few things, as an old man does, I got to wondering about different things that I've come across in life and different ideas that I've heard people talk about and stuff. And I wanted to kind of run some of that by you today. As you know, life is full of mysteries and full of questions and full of maybes that we don't really have big answers for. Whenever I've encountered those things, I've kind of looked around to see if there was something that could lend some form of understanding for me about if things are even possible. We're indoctrinated, if you will, and we're taught various different things as we go up through our life. But we don't experience everything, the great possibilities out there. And I was watching a video of a couple down in Arkansas that have some of the big guys on their property. And when I say the big guys, I'm talking about the boss of the woods. A lot of people call them a lot of different things. The Bigfoot, the wood boogers, Sasquatch, Sabe. It just goes by so many names. And and people, get talking about the capabilities of these pretty elusive creatures out there. And this video that I was watching, they were talking about the energy in all things. Now, scientists will tell you that basically everything is made up of energy. Energy will change form. Just for example, like the energy that went into growing this pinyon pine that I'm burning right now came in from the energy of the sun and all of the minerals and everything else that was taken up into it. And then when it's heated up, like you see here, that energy is released into a different form. So energy just changes form. So energy surrounds us, and we're made up of energy. Our body has electrical currents, for example, chemical signals that are sent from one thing to another. We respond to magnetism and gravity and all of these things. And what spiked my interest was I've worked with energy for many, many, many years. As a Reiki master and an energy healer, I know that energy is there, and that energy can be utilized, and energy can be, let's say that we can access energy, and different organisms have different ways of perceiving that energy. There's animals out there that can see perfectly well in the nighttime. You and I can't. We don't have that capability. There's animals out there that migrate by the magnetic fields of the earth. Most of us, perhaps unknowingly, we're subject to those magnetic fields as well, but we don't have the capabilities to determine them like those birds do so that they can get back. Fish have the capability of going back to the very stream that they were spawned in. They say that there's organisms in the bottom of the sea that can detect another organism's energy, and that's how they feed. So, subsequently to that, what's to say that a higher life form, or a differently developed life form, doesn't also have those capabilities? And what brought me to wanting to talk a little bit about it, and just to put it out there, because it's got me scratching my head. And when I get scratched in my head, that means that I've got some questions that are looking for answers, and that means that I got to get my poking stick out and start, poking around and see what I can find about it. Now, if everything has an energy, the question is whether or not that energy can be detected. Now, there's a process that's called Kiralin photography. I think it's spelled Kiralan or IN. And what it purports to do is to be able to take a photograph of a living organism, or one that has been living, and show the energy patterns around it. And some people call them auras or whatever. Now, the question that I'm asking in my mind, if everything gives off this energy pattern, and we're able to photograph it, and we're able to measure it, what's not to say that some animals out there can actually perceive it and see it where we can't? Like those that can see in perfect pitch blackness and we cannot. Those that can hear sounds that are beyond our hearing capabilities. So I'm not closing that book, and I'm not closing that door. And when we get taking a look at all of the different structures that are found, I started looking at the idea of, well, if living organisms give off this energy, and if there's an entity out there or a creature out there that can see that energy, would they use that in a way that would help them in their environment? Now, in the woods, most of the trees, if you walk around, are normally vertical. They'll grow vertical. Sometimes they'll grow a little bit to the side or whatever, looking for sunlight or whatever, trying to grow, or they've been damaged in some way, But even if something is damaged and bent over, after a while, you'll notice that the living limbs will grow straight up towards the light. Now, we've all seen the videos where they show purported arches, or something has manipulated the living organisms out there, the trees, the saplings, or whatever, and bent them over into like an arch shape, and they're still alive. Now, if they're still alive, then they're radiating energy. Let's say a creature that's walking around at night or whatever and is able to see energy and knows that most things in the forest around them grow vertical, okay? They now take a living organism and they bend it over into an arch. And I'm thinking that if they can see that energy, that must look just like a glowing ring at night, because rather than growing up, it grows to the side or grows in an arch. Could they be using that as some way of showing pathways in the dark or whatever? I don't know. I got myself scratching my head thinking about that. The energy that's given off by an organism that used to be alive depreciates over time. In other words, it's not as full of energy as it was when it's living. And that's why I think they want us to really come out and eat the freshest of vegetables and that sort of stuff that we can, because the life force energy in it is still viable. It hasn't been depreciated. It hasn't been ruined by heavy processing and things of this nature. So that's something that I'm starting to take a look at as a possibility. Some of you may say, Pappy's gone off over into the woo category. Well, not really at all. Anything that I don't understand, or anything that I haven't seen or I haven't experienced, I guess you could probably say it's woo-woo, but I can't say that about myself because I haven't closed the door of possibilities. I've seen way too much of what Creator's been able to do out there in my environment, of just a little bit that I've seen. And by no means what I've seen is probably no more than one side of a grain of sand in the whole scheme of the whole creation that's out there. So I think I would be kind of silly to say that's the world. It's only the world because that's all I've seen. It doesn't change the fact that there's something out there that I haven't seen that would probably blow my mind. I'm not going to call it woo. Okay, I think woo is just a way of dismissing the ability to keep your mind open to see something, or to experience something, or to immerse yourself in the wonders of creation. Creator has put us down here to be aware. Creator has put us down here to be sentient beings that have a thinking process that allows us to come into harmony with everything around us, so that all of creation can be in harmony the way it's supposed to be. And when we dismiss possibilities, we dismiss our abilities to be able to meld ourselves or mold ourselves or come in resonance with that which is around us. We've hardened ourselves. We haven't become flexible enough to be able to bend around the corners that we approach in our life. So I think, in my way of thinking, I'm asking you to be flexible. Now, I'm going to tell you as a matter of fact, all the years that I've been walking around and the stuff that I've done to my body and all the different jobs and stuff I have, my body isn't as flexible as it used to be. But by golly, you know what? Just because my body's wearing out don't mean I'm going to allow my mind to wear out. Okay, so I want my mind to be as flexible as possible. All right? I don't think that makes me gullible. I don't think that makes me strange in any way, or put myself into a category where I'm something that other people are not or cannot become. Okay, so those are my words today. So I'd like to have each of you be flexible and, exercise a yoga of your mind, if you will. There was a time when I was a young fella, I was flexible enough that I could probably put my feet up behind my head. I'd probably break myself trying to do that now. But the idea is that if I had kept that up all of my life and maintained that flexibility, I'd probably have a lot more flexibility than I have now. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use it, you forget where it was. And if you forget where it was and you allow it to become lost, you may never find it again. Okay, so make your minds flexible. Weigh everything against the tellings of your heart, if you will. See how it feels to you. Okay, then ask yourself why it makes you feel the way it does. Okay, and explore those. One question will lead to another question. Just like the smoke of this fire or the crackling sound of this fire has led you here to Harmony Fire, let the questions lead you to the answers in your life so that you can have an understanding of how you also can walk in balance here in your earth walk. I hope everybody has a great day, and I hope you've enjoyed the warmth of this little Harmony Fire here today. And if I've left you with anything other than the fact that Papa's starting to lose it here a little bit, it's that I want you to have the very best in your life that you can. Okay, don't limit yourself because you are limitless. Your self-imposed blinders that you've put on through the life, take them off. Take a look at the world. Experience it. Don't go off the deep end. Keep yourself grounded. Keep your feet on the ground. Okay, otherwise you can be a space shot out there floating around disconnected. Maintain the two. This is Pappy Two Bears. Thank you for coming and sitting down with me next to Harmony Fire. I always enjoy it. I hope you have a great day, and I wish many blessings to all of you.